covering all your local high school football games with highlights and scores. Now, Football Friday, brought to you by Alabama Credit Union.
And welcome in, everybody. I'm Gary Harris, and we are flying along. Welcome into week number 11 of WVUA 23's Football Friday. Football Friday, of course, presented by Alabama Credit Union. Visit alabamacu.com to learn more. Alabama Credit Union, loans for real life. As we've talked about all year, Football Friday is 1 hour again this year. But keep in mind that a lot of teams are on bye this week. Remember, you have 11 weeks to play 10 games. You have week 0, remember? Some teams took a bye during the season. A lot of teams played 10 straight weeks and then took the bye this week, hoping that they would be in the playoffs. And that's what's going to happen next week. The first round of the AHSA state playoffs are set for them. And so for some teams, they saw their season come to an end last week. And some will finish up their season this week. And then, of course, some, as we said, will play in the playoffs next week. So games were sparse, but we still have highlights from 13 high school football games for you this evening, plus all the other great features like our complete Bank First Football Friday High School Scoreboard, our Football Friday Band of the Week, our premier service company Outside the Huddle feature, Rodney Orr's Recruiting Tales, Behind Enemy Lines around the SEC, and more, including LSU fans coming in on the Amtrak. But we begin, as we pretty much do every week, with our DCH Game of the Week.
Now, the Game of the Week, brought to you by DCH.
All right, this is a bragging rights game, a rivalry game. Northside at Sipsey Valley, and boy, they were pumped up at Sipsey Valley. They're going to the playoffs. We're going to pick it up. First quarter, Sipsey already up 7-0. The Bears' Wyatt Bailey fields the punt, and then watch this. This is just athletic ability. I mean, I wouldn't say that the blocking was great, but he took it one way, took it back the other way. Now he comes all the way back across the side to the other side of the field and kind of like tackled a man with the ball when you were a kid, except nobody can tackle him. That is a 65-yard punt return for a touchdown to make it 14-0. That's as pretty a play as you're going to see. And then L.J. Cormier, who's having a fantastic season at quarterback, right into your living room there for the 3-yard touchdown. It's 21-0 Sipsey. I tell you what, Sipsey is one of the more improved teams in the West Alabama area this year. Rams can't get anything going. They fumbled the football there. Bryant Woodruff ripped it out. Jamarian Jolly recovered it. And Sipsey Valley cashes in again. The Bears going to get the better of the Rams tonight. You can see it coming. Aiden Abernathy dances into the end zone. All Sipsey Valley tonight. And our game of the week, they win it 49-14. Sipsey Valley, because of the way the seedings are set with non-region games counting in terms of your seeding, they will be the number 3 playoff seed in Class 4A from Region 3 beginning next week. All right, Brookwood at Tuscaloosa County High, 6A Brookwood at 7A County High. Both teams wrapping up their seasons tonight. And after a Panther punt to start the game, the Wildcats get going on offense in a hurry. Braden Smith hands it off to Jadarius Hutchins, and that's a good idea because he is gone. 50 yards. First touchdown of the game for the Wildcats against the Panthers. Next Wildcat possession, Braden Smith. This time he uses his arm, loads up. He's got Jordan Chambers behind the defense. Good throw, good catch. Touchdown 14-0. Wildcats just continuing to make hay. Miami commit Kevin Riley just walks into the end zone for his first touchdown of the game. Tuscaloosa County led 21-0 at the end of one. Then the next drive for the Wildcats, Kamori Jackson around the right side. Nice blocking. He strolls into the end zone for another county high score. Wildcats continuing to dominate in this game. Riley hits the hole, and he is gone. Nobody's going to catch him. 42-0 at the half, and Tuscaloosa County goes on to win it tonight over Brookwood by the final of 42-14. So both teams have their seasons come to an end tonight here in Tuscaloosa County. All right, Tuscaloosa Academy at Holt. TA, of course, region champions. Holt, you know, they're better this year. They're a better team than what they've been. But tonight's too much tonight. First drive, Preston Lancaster finds Caleb Colgrove in the back of the end zone for the touchdown. The Ironmen stayed energized, though. That's what they've done all year under Coach Newton. They've played hard. Jordan Samuel on the direct snap, and he picks up a 28-yard keeper there for a first down. But Tuscaloosa Academy would hold. They would get it back. And it's Lancaster, who is really talented, steps into that throw. I mean, that's just a flick of the wrist right there. 45 yards to Mills Powell. That sets up the Knights in the red zone. And then it's Lancaster to Ellis Hamilton. Boy, this duo has hooked up a few times this year. Nice little crossing pattern right there. House call. The Knights continue to lead. Holt, though, gave a good fight. You see this hard running right here for a big first down, but TA too much tonight as they'll go all into the playoffs on a roll. 39-16 over Holt. TA, as we said, region champs already, and they close out the regular season with a big win. All right, the CFA 8-man championship game. Tuscaloosa Christian hosting Russell Christian out of Meridian, Mississippi. First quarter, TCS quarterback Luke Jones takes the snap, breaks a tackle. He got reservations for 6. 60 yards out, 2-point conversion, no good. Warriors up 6-0. Here comes Russell Christian. Down 14-8 with 21 seconds left in the half. Aiden Burns finds Carter Simmons, who makes the diving catch for the score, and we're tied. Third quarter, still 14-14. Burns looking for Simmons again, but he will be picked off by Jackson Harris, and that is a pick 6. 2-point conversion is good. Tuscaloosa Christian up 22-14, but they would have it tied up by Russell Christian, and heartbreak for the Warriors tonight as Russell Christian wins it in overtime, 30-22 for their 7th straight CFA championship. What a game tonight over in Cottondale, but Tuscaloosa Christian comes up just short in the CFA 8-man championship game. More 8-man football. First round AISA playoffs. North River Christian hosting Evangel Christian. And this was a fast-paced game. Quarterback Mekhi Williams throws it to Andre Stoddard for a touchdown, as that is a touchdown for Evangel. They're out of Montgomery. Here comes the Chargers looking to respond. Joshua Harris finds Andre Parham. And then Parham gets the handoff and gets a first down. But the drive would stall, and here come the visitors. The Lions, Mekhi Williams finds Brandon Fuller for a 25-yard gain, and then Williams hands it off to Andre Stoddard, and he is going to just run over a man into the end zone, and it is going to be Evangel getting the win tonight over North River, 66-26. So North River makes the AISA 8-man state playoffs, but they lose tonight to Evangel Christian, so Evangel advances. Well, we've got so much more still to come here on Football Friday as we're really just getting started. Now, there are a limited amount of games tonight, as I've already mentioned, but we're going to keep on rolling. When we come back, the Paul Bryant Stampede closed out the season tonight with a fairly long road trip down to Demopolis. Was it worth it? We were there, too. Highlights are on the way, so stay with us for more of WVUA 23's Football Friday.
Cheerleaders, and we love Football Friday
on WVUA 23.
Go Jags!
And thanks to the Spain Park cheerleaders for being part of our cheerleader roster on this season of Football Friday, and thanks to Pool and Patio Center for bringing us the cheerleaders every week. Well, let's get to more action tonight, and we've got Paul Bryant wrapping up the season, traveling down to Demopolis tonight in a big road game for the Stampede. And let's get to the action here. Demopolis always with a lot of pomp and circumstances. They love their football down there. The Bryant Stampede, though, trying to get something going. Javion Johnson trying to get a drive going, but he is intercepted by Jamarcus Valters, who gets the turnover for the Demopolis Tigers. And then Demopolis running back Antonio Cox is just going to take a handoff, and that's just pretty much off tackle right there. And he turns on the jets, jumps into the end zone. Tigers go up 7-0 on the 20-yard touchdown run. Next Tiger possession, quarterback Kevin McElroy is going to hand off to Keyshawn Rouser, and man alive, gone 64 yards. As that is just a blur. Stampede, though, in the red zone. They're going to hand it off to Brandon Gooden, who walks in untouched. That made it 13-7. Into the half, quarterback Kevin McElroy for Demopolis going deep. And Dalen Jackson is there, dragging a man. Bryant hung tough in this one, but as we check out the final, Demopolis would get the win tonight, 43-21. The Tigers take it over the Stampede down in Demop this evening. Fayette County hosting Hamilton in their final home game of the season. an opening drive for Fayette County. A lot of these seniors, of course, closing out careers. Dylan Shorb takes a handoff, and he just walks into the end zone. 11-yard touchdown for the Tigers. Hamilton, though, looking to come back, and quarterback Mason Holloway. As they get a little option here with the pitch, but uh-oh, pitch is going back the other way. And Fayette County gets another touchdown, but here comes Hamilton as they get a quarterback keeper to get them on the board. Noah Benton scored that touchdown for Fayette. More Fayette right here. Hester Whitaker in from 7 yards out, and the offense just continues to roll tonight. William Jacob Rickman throws it to Cooper Sanford, who races it in the end zone for a 10-yard touchdown to extend the lead to 33-7. And Fayette County outslugs Hamilton tonight, 51-33, the final score. Dora at St. Clair County tonight. And in the first quarter, the St. Clair fans just kind of easing into it. But here comes Dora, second quarter. Keyshawn Pryor breaks through some tackles and just refuses to go down. He's into the end zone. That put Dora up 20-6 late in the second quarter. Parker Blankenship and the Saints looking to cut the deficit. It's actually another Dora touchdown right there, as that is Colby Key in for the touchdown. And here we're going to have Parker Blankenship for the home team, finding Jeremiah Thomas. And look at Thomas, man, that's a good-looking receiver right there. Speed and athleticism. Touchdown made it 20-13 late in the first half, but Dora goes on to get the win tonight on the road at St. Clair County, 47-27, the final score. Over in Northeast Alabama tonight, big rivalry game, 6A Oxford at 4A Jacksonville. These two schools go way, way back. Opening possession for the Yellow Jackets. They're coached by Sam Adams, remember, former Hillcrest head coach. Mason Mims, Kamari Hampton in stride, 42 yards, Oxford up 7-0. Then it is Mims to Hampton again, because, well, that's just what Oxford does. Nice catch there. Another really good-looking athletic wide receiver. Next play, one more time, Mims to Hampton, 13 yards out. And it is a 13-0 lead for the Yellow Jackets. Second quarter, the ground attack for Oxford. Damius Wilson up the middle, cuts in, cuts out, and gets it inside the 20-yard line. That's a 35-yard game, and that would help set up Jaden Thomas, who just barrels over a would-be tackler into the end zone to make it 20-0 late in the second quarter. It's Wilson again who finds the open field and runs to pay dirt. 28-yard touchdown. Oxford led 27-0 at the half over the Jacksonville Golden Eagles. And as we check out the final, it would be the Yellow Jackets cruising tonight in that rivalry game, 36-7, the final score. All right, don't even think about touching that remote, or you might miss out on some more great high school football highlights, including a Thursday night regular season ending matchup between the Gordo Greenwave and the Hale County Wildcats. A trip up to Pickens County is coming up next when we return to WVUA 23's Football Friday.
We are the Bibb County High School cheerleaders.
We love Football Friday on WVUA 23.
Welcome back, and thanks for being with us this evening. In addition to quite a few teams being on bye this week, there are also a number of Thursday night games, which is usually the case the final week of the regular season. So let's get to some of last night's action, and we'll begin with senior night at Gordo as the Greenwave hosted the Hale County Wildcats. After a Jace Hancock interception, the Greenwave will take advantage of the turnover. Ethan Wilder, who is a tremendous player, that's why he's committed to Memphis, he is going to break 3-4 tackles on the way to the end zone. Gordo would convert the two-point conversion. Greenwave up 8-0, 10:30 left in the first quarter. Next possession for the Wildcats, it's Antoine Zimmerman escaping the pocket and trying to make something happen. Downfield he goes, and he makes a good throw, but there comes the pop-up drill, and it's a second pick for Hancock, and Wilder then pays it off again. He punches it in for his second touchdown in the first quarter after a Wildcats punt. Gordo back on offense, and Wild are putting on a show last night up on Highway 82 West. Here it comes again, right into your living room. 2-point conversion was good, and Gordo was cruising in this one, 51-14 at half. And the Greenwave, as you might imagine, went on to win as we check out the final. 58-26 as they moved that game along in the second half, and the Gordo Greenwave, one of the stronger teams in West Alabama, and they showed why again last night. Well, big matchup of Class 7A Vestavia Hills hosting Class 6A Helena on Thursday. Both teams are already headed to the playoffs, but one of those 6A, 7A games, but it was all 7A. John Paul Head, terrific quarterback, very physical athlete for Vestavia. 12-yard gain there after he calls his own number. And then Head up the middle for the 5-yard touchdown as the Rebels take an early 7-0 lead. 14-0 now. Huskies deep in their own territory, and Tennessee commit Jordan Ross comes off the edge and gets the sack of Nathan Ferguson there. And then it's more defense, and Ross in with another sack, and then right before the end of the half, William Tomsmeyer Jr. gets grabbed there, but still picks up a big gain. I got the helmet, and then Caden Taylor finds his way into the end zone to make it 24-0, and all Vestavia last night as they roll over in Vestavia Hills over the Helena Huskies. The Rebels take it 44-0, but again, both teams looking to make playoff runs in their respective classifications beginning next week. Vestavia in 7A, Helena in 6A. Leeds at home on Thursday night, playing host to the Eagles of Center Point. And the Greenwave, obviously sporting the green, and first drive of the game, 3rd and 8. But on 3rd and 8, quarterback Connor Nelson just keeps and runs some more. 62 yards. He is in for 6, and the Greenwave jump on top. Ensuing kickoff now, Damian Canty is a freshman. He's very talented, got some great quickness there, but he coughs it up. You got to hang on to the ball, young man. Nick Davis with the recovery, and then on 3rd and 10, Nelson throws the screen, and Talon Gator 1st and goal, and then from there, on 2nd and goal from the 2, Christian Burge, big man, into the end zone, making it 12-0. Center Point, though, on the move, but turnovers continue to play the Eagles. The strip and the recovery by the Greenwave, and Leeds would go on to win this one in shutout fashion on Thursday night by the final score of 22-0. The Greenwave have washed out many an opponent over the years, and they did it to the Center Point Eagles last night. All right, also on Thursday night, Mountain Brook hosting Baker out of Mobile, and Mountain Brook head coach Chris Yeager loved the first half in this one, trying to end the regular season on a high note, up 7-0, and then Cole Gamble doing his thing. Wow, put the head down, man. It's physical football right there. 14-0. Baker fits some points here, though. Roderick Taylor is going to get it across for the touchdown to make it 14-7. But Mountain Brook running the ball, playing physical, and that sets up the play action. John Cooper finds John Sanderson, who splits the safeties and is down at the 4. And then it's Gamble. You know he's going to get it, and why not? The big man gets the touchdown to make it 21-7. 21-10 now, and the Spartans are going to cap it off with another touchdown. They look like they are cruising up 28-10. But look what happened in the second half. As we show you the final score, Baker came storming back in this one. 27 points in the second half, and the team from Mobile gets the victory over the Spartans, 37-28, the final last night. Well, that's going to put a wrap on our high school football highlights, but we're not done with high school football, not by a long shot, because when we come back, our Football Friday High School Band of the Week, plus our Bank First High School Scoreboard. We're going to run down other scores for you from last night and from tonight. So stay with us. Football Friday, going to get to some scores coming up next right here on WVUA 23. And that was the Tuscaloosa County High School Marching Band. They're our Band of the Week as we welcome you back into Football Friday on WVUA 23. And now it's time to check in on all the other scores from Thursday and Friday night. So let's focus on the Bank First scoreboard. Remember, Bank First, putting customers first. And here we go. Let's run them down for you. Some of these are Friday night scores. Some of these are Saturday night scores. So we'll just take you through the whole scoreboard. Northridge over Alma Bryant. What a big win for the Jags. It's been a tough year, but they go on the road tonight down in Southwest Alabama and get the win, 21-18. That's a big one for the Jags to close the season out with some momentum. Holy Spirit at Fayetteville tonight, and the Saints lose on the road 47-12, the final score in that game. It was Barry out of Fayette going to Summerton Christian tonight, and Barry gets a big win, 34-14. And South Lamar blanked Brilliant this evening by the final score of 56-0. It was Colbert County. And this has always been a big rivalry game. Colbert County at Selligent. Colbert County gets the win and a wild one, 38-34. Winfield all over Lamar County, 64-7. It was Lynn winning at Hubbardville, 56-33. Choctaw County beat University Charter out of Livingston, 24-6. Spain Park, 39. Pelham, nothing. Homewood beat Jasper, 38-14. McAdory wins at Calera, 35-31. Corner, too much for Hayden, winning on the road, 40-13. It was Montevallo over Tarrant, 41-21. Pickens County goes over to Marion County and gets the win. It was Hueytown taking care of Gardendale, 47-28. John Carroll over Maplesville, 44-7. Pell City had been a long first year for Russ Probst. They lost a lot of close games, had to forfeit one. Springville tonight gets the better of Pell City, 31-28. So only one official win for the Panthers, but a much improved football team. Watch out for Probst and company in year number 2. Southern Academy and AISA gets a win. West Morgan over Haleyville, 42-12. There you see Hackleburg taking care of Cherokee, 41-6. All right, that's going to do it for the scoreboard, but more high school football is on the way because when we come back, our high school analyst, Bama Central's Joe Gaither, is going to join me to break down tonight's game of the week. A big rivalry win for Sipsey Valley. Sipsey Valley going to go into the playoffs with some momentum after taking care of Northside. That's straight ahead on WVUA 23's Football Friday.
We're the Oak Mountain High School Visual Ensemble.
We love Football Friday on WVUA 23. Go Eagles!
All right, well, Joe Gaither from Bama Central has been with us all season on analyzing high school football. Joe's been following it for several years and usually is able to make it out to our game of the week, the DCH game of the week, and you were able to get out there tonight out at Sipsey Valley. We don't have a good internet connection, but I tell you what, they're playing some pretty good football. This was our DCH game of the week, and against Northside, this is a huge rivalry game. These communities aren't very far apart, and through the years, Northside has dominated Sipsey Valley, but not tonight.
Oh, not tonight. They went up 42-0 before Northside got on the board. Ended up with a 49-14 win. LJ Cormier over 300 yards passing. Wyatt Bailey really broke the game open with the second touchdown of the game. A big, about a 40-yard punt return. He's just incredible.
Yeah, we showed that earlier. That punt return was absolutely phenomenal. And this obviously it's not a region game, but it is a bragging rights game. And for Sipsey Valley, not only do they get a win, a rare win over the Rams, but some big-time momentum going in as the 3rd seed next week. This is a dangerous football team because when you have playmakers like Bailey and Cormier, here's this punt return right here. You got a chance.
Oh, yeah, and they've got a running back, Aiden Abernathy, who got on a touchdown as well. And really, they are a dangerous football team. Maybe not the most talented team, but just enough firepower that if you're not out there with your A game, they're going to beat you. They put up some points.
And for them, this season has meant so much because, again, I'm just, telling it like it is. Sipsey Valley has pretty much been a non-factor for a number of years in high school football, and Northside's program has been riding high. So, again, they get a big win tonight, but the entire season for the Bears, and, Cormier's coming back for another year. So, this year has been good, but they like they're building something out there.
Oh, absolutely. It's Joey Milligan's second year. Mm-hmm. Last year, they missed the playoffs by one game. This year, to get in and really ride some momentum, maybe they get a win in the first round. I think they're a program on the rise.
Yeah, so big win for Sipsey Valley tonight as they don't just win over Northside, they win in dominant fashion. All right, let's come back on camera and talk a little bit about the state playoffs next week. We'll be covering it next week. You'll be here. First round, Hillcrest did not play, but they're 10-0. They were 10-0 last year, got to 11-0 before they lost. This year they've been able to avoid the injury bug, and we know how tough Class 6A is, but do you think Hillcrest has got a shot to win it all?
Oh, a shot, absolutely. I think it's going to be coming down to Hillcrest, Clay Chalkville, and Saraland, and really just how the draw plays out. And if they play their best against Saraland or against Clay Chalkville, absolutely they have a shot.
And Tuscaloosa Academy, in their second year in AHSAA, wins a region championship, beat Holt tonight. How far and how deep do you think they can go?
Well, they won a state championship in AISAA before they moved into AHSAA, and so I think that they really can make a lot of noise. I'm really impressed with their program, and Gordo hosting a first-round game as well next week.
Gordo's roasting. There's a lot of good teams. Can't mention them all, but we'll be back with you for the first round playoff edition next week. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Gary.
All right, on the way, our award-winning Outside the Huddle feature. It's always an incredible piece of journalism. Stu McCann and the guys that work on it going to have another one for you coming up next right here on Football Friday. And welcome back to WVUA 23's Football Friday, presented by Alabama Credit Union. I'm Gary Harris, and it's time now for our Abby Award-winning feature, Outside the Huddle, presented by Premier Service Company. Premier Service Company, the power to keep you cool in the summer and warm in the winter. And tonight, Stu McCann has the story of young athletes learning CPR and how that knowledge could potentially save another young athlete's life.
The popular phrase, "you can't teach speed," only counts in the physical sense. Athletes and trainers are honing their mental acuity, recognition, processing, awareness.
Random things happen at all times, right? But we all have to be alert and aware.
It goes beyond expect the unexpected. How do you deliver a response that feels more instinctive than it is learned?
Just knowing what to do. Nobody walks out of the house and say, hey, I'm going to have a heart attack today, or hey, I'm going to get into a car accident. Nobody goes out doing that. However, in the event they find themselves in such a situation, we need to know what to do.
Last Saturday, 38 boys and girls attended a CPR awareness training in Tuscaloosa, learning techniques and life-saving response time. No one became CPR certified. That wasn't the goal.
You can't just jump out there and do CPR. So see something, say something, know how to react.
Teaching them how to check for a pulse, check and see if they're breathing. If they're unresponsive, then you know. You call someone, you tell them to get an AED. There's 2 steps of importance. Call 911 and starting compressions, hard and fast.
Carolyn Etheridge has been giving CPR awareness presentations for more than 5 years, and she's noticed a trend.
Over the past, I would say, year or so, seeing the instance or increase in people inquiring more about high schoolers because these events are taking effect on athletes.
Within the past year, Damar Hamlin of the Buffalo Bills and LeBron James's son Bronny suffered cardiac arrests while playing their sports. But the one that hit home occurred when a Sipsey Valley High School basketball player collapsed during practice and lay unresponsive.
We don't ever want to create panic, you know, and I know of specific incidents where with the situation that happened this summer where young guys, you know, they heard of that and they were like, I don't want to play ball anymore.
The absolute response, all or nothing, is an emotional default. It's a sliding scale. The less information we have, the more panic we feel.
You have to live. We don't want you to live in fear. We want you to live confidently, and should something happen, you can confidently respond to it. It's not that we think that having this event will cause people to, you know, think that it's not going to happen or to not panic. Anytime we can have awareness and education, it sort of softens the blow.
Kimbrough compared CPR training to training that firefighters go through. They spend 90% of the time preparing for the final 10%, the fire emergency.
Along with the skills of how to perform it, but also just knowing and feeling confident within yourself that I got this and I know what to do in the event that I have to save someone's life, a family member or a student or a friend or anyone.
That message resonated with the audience. Of the 38 young adults that attended last week's training, over 50% committed to become CPR certified. Etheridge says anyone over 12 can take that step. It shows empowerment has more to do with confidence than experience.
Standing as always. Thank you, Stu. Well, coming up, Football Friday's Drew Provine will take you behind enemy lines with the voice of LSU football, Chris Blair. And also a double dose of recruiting tales with Tighter Insider's Rodney Orr. You know, when it comes to recruiting tales, if one is good, two are even better. As you can see, one of them is going to feature Dabo Swinney. We'll be right back with more Football Friday.
Hey, we're the North River Cheerleaders, and you're watching Football Friday on WVUA 23.
And welcome back. I'm Gary Harris. It's now time for Recruiting Tales with Tighter Insider's Rodney Orr. Tonight, a 2-for-1. Let's begin with Rodney discussing the recruiting prowess of Dabo Swinney. It was that talent that helped propel him to 2 national championships as the head coach at Clemson.
Dabo was a very confident recruiter. You know, he loved Alabama, and he was a guy that made a really strong impression because Dabo is a guy that you trust. Comes across as very trustworthy. The mothers loved him. They trusted him with their sons. He could relate well to young kids because Dabo was still pretty young himself, and he's always been a guy that's kind of been a fun guy. And so I think, you know, the way he was, his personality, made him a really good recruiter. Well, there's one thing Dabo's never lacked, and that's confidence. And it's kind of funny because Dabo never met a prospect that he was recruiting that he didn't think he could get.
That's good stuff. And tonight, in part 2 of Recruiting Tales, the way the process has changed over the last 25 years, not just for coaches, but also for media members and recruiting analysts. Access was once granted on a regular basis. That's certainly not the case anymore, as Rodney explains.
25 years ago, you could walk into the football complex, walk up the stairs, and go to a coach's office. Nobody would ask you a word. Back then, I mean, you know, you could just go in and meet the coaches. You could talk to them. And back in those days, they would use you in a way. And what I mean by use, just to give you an example, in 1998, when Alabama went to Arkansas and lost 42-6, the next week they were to play Florida. The night before the game, I'm standing out in front of the football complex. I hear somebody yell my name, turn around. It's Ronnie Cottrell, assistant head coach, recruiting coordinator. He says, look, you got to come up to me to my office. I said, okay. I get up there and he says, Rodney, he said, you know, Arkansas just beat us pretty bad. And he said, it might happen again tomorrow. And he said, what might happen, I'm afraid, is I've got all these guys committed, and I've got several other top-notch guys that want to come to Alabama. But if we get beat badly again, that could really hurt our recruiting class. I need your help. You have to make the people believe that, hey, we're taking steps. This is a process. We're going to be better down the road. You know, we're just getting this thing rolling. We're just getting started. And we really need you to be positive for Alabama.
Just seems like yesterday. Time flies. Well, Alabama's back on the field this weekend after a bye week. The number 8 Crimson Tide, of course, hosting number 13 LSU in an SEC West showdown. We recently sat down with the voice of the LSU Tigers, Chris Blair, to give you a look behind enemy lines. Here's Football Friday's Drew Provine.
The Crimson Tide are fresh off their bye week and will take on the explosive LSU offense under the lights Saturday in Bryant Stadium. And the voice of the LSU Tigers, Chris Blair, says in order for the Bayou Bengals to have their desired outcome, it will come down to the Heisman frontrunner, Jaden Daniels.
It's not easy to beat Nick Saban and that Alabama defense, but when it happens, it's because it's a mobile and dual-threat quarterback, and that goes back years and years. And they haven't lost a lot, but when they have, you can look at a quarterback that basically a defense has to pick their poison. And I think that's really what Jaden and Coach Mike Denbrock, the offensive coordinator, have to be very conscious of going into this game. You're on the road. This is an Alabama team who I think, while their offense may not be elite or at least to the level they're accustomed to over the last many years, Their defense is elite. The passing game is there. He's got weapons to use to stretch the field, but he also can be used in design runs. If he wants to extend a play because you've really defended it well, that's when he becomes even more dangerous. That's a defensive coordinator's nightmare in general, and that's what he'll have to do. This is going to be his biggest stage since the opening game of the season.
While the offense for LSU is the nation's best, Blair believes Alabama's signal caller has found his groove and can take advantage of the struggles the Tigers have had in the secondary.
I think now Jalen Milroe is comfortable, and I also think Tommy Rees has found that right kind of balance of what he needs to do and the plays that need to be called, that suddenly Milroe doesn't have to run. I mean, his numbers are paltry running the football, and he's lighting people up, throwing the football, as you say, down the field and hitting big play after big play after big play. There's no secret LSU's weakest link coming into this year, and has continued to be all season, has been the secondary. As much as there is concern about the LSU secondary, deservedly so, I think, it's complementary football, and you can do some things up front to help the back end of the defense. And if LSU can do that, they give themselves a chance. If they can't, impose their will for the most part at the line of scrimmage, I think Jalen Milroe and Alabama are set to maybe have one of their best offensive performances of the year.
Yes, both teams offensively have the big playability. Blair says when it comes down to who's going to win, it will come down to the performance from the defense and which team can finish the game.
To me, when I look at these two teams, it depends on which defense gets the game they want. What I mean by that is if this is a 40-plus game, if the scores are going to be 40 or above, I think LSU has the advantage. If the game stays in the 20s or 30s, I think Alabama is probably going to benefit from that. But I do think it's going to be a close game. They've got to get off to a great start in Tuscaloosa. And if they can get off to a good start and put the pressure, continue to mount pressure on Milroe to have to deliver play after play after play, I think that's the best combination for LSU to have a chance to win. Because if they can get a little bit of separation and then there's zero margin for error for that Alabama offense, I think that's where LSU needs to go.
And welcome back to Football Friday. It's Alabama LSU week, Saturday evening in Tuscaloosa. The number 8 Crimson Tide will host the number 13 LSU Bayou Bengals inside Bryant Stadium. Remember, that kickoff is set for a little after 6:45 on CBS. Well, many LSU fans love to take the Amtrak from Louisiana to Tuscaloosa for the game. They've been doing it for years, and we were at the train station on Friday evening when many of them arrived, and they were ready to party. We caught up with a couple of the festive purple and gold travelers to get their thoughts on taking the train and also on the big game.
Tomorrow.
We come to Teton looking for victory.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, we're big LSU fans, and the LSU-Alabama game, what more could you ask for?
Yep, biggest rivalry.
That was awesome.
So fun. It was a huge party.
The train was full of LSU fans. All LSU fans and one Bama fan, bless their heart.
Poor thing.
I can imagine.
Yes, indeed. Go Tigers! Beat Bama!
They're always a lot of fun. And tomorrow night should certainly be fun. Well, there's plenty of other action, though, on the schedule for tomorrow in the Southeastern Conference, including a big one at Vaught-Hemingway Stadium in Oxford, Mississippi, as Ole Miss will host Texas A&M. Kenneth Kelly takes us around the SEC.
As the Halloween season comes to an end, we officially get to celebrate the greatest combination ever created. And I'm not talking about peanut butter and jelly, or hot chocolate and marshmallows, or even chicken and waffles. I'm talking about November and SEC football. This time of year is really special because we get to see the contenders truly separate themselves from the pretenders in the conference. One of the highlighted matchups of the week is Ole Miss and Texas A&M. SC Nation is traveling up to Oxford to see the high-powered Rebel offense and the stout Aggie defense battle it out. Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin enters this game with a 2-0 record against Jimbo Fisher and looks to continue his streak. But this game is much more than just X's and O's. There's been a rivalry brewing between these two coaches, going back to last year when former Ole Miss defensive coordinator DJ Durkin left the program to join Coach Fisher at Texas A&M. Kiffin has a history of taking shots at Fisher, including earlier this week when referring to the Aggies' goals for the season.
You know, achieve our goals and not let others achieve their goals. I think I read where Jimbo said their goal is to be bowl eligible. So if we can get in the way of that, that would be good for us too.
The Auburn Tigers traveled to Nashville to take on Vanderbilt for their homecoming game. This is Auburn's first time back in the city since 2012. The winner of this game will actually take the lead in the all-time series, as they are both at a deadlock at 21 games apiece. The Tigers enter into this matchup coming off of a 27-13 win over Mississippi State. In the game, quarterback Peyton Thorne had his best performance all season, throwing 3 touchdowns in the first half and nearly having 300 yards of total offense. Head coach Hugh Freeze said this was the time for Thorne to make a difference for the Tigers offense.
As I told him this week, it's time for us to put up or shut up and you know, figure out, you know, who can run the things we want to run.
The second-ranked Georgia Bulldogs host the 12th-ranked Missouri Tigers, and this game has SEC East stakes on the line. Last year, Missouri played the defending champions, the toughest that any team had played them all season. They were even up by 10 points in the fourth quarter. But Georgia was able to come back and got the win over the Tigers, 26-22, narrowly escaping a loss. Coming into this matchup, both teams control their own destiny to win the Eastern Division and compete for the SEC Championship later this year. History is definitely on Georgia's side, though, as they have won the last 9 years in a row and lead the all-time series 11-1. However, Missouri coach Eli Drinkwitz said earlier this week that all the winning streaks and the back-to-back championships and everything that Georgia has accomplished over the past few years doesn't really matter. His team is not intimidated, and they're focused on executing and being 1-0 at the end of this week. Everyone definitely needs to tune in and see if Missouri can get the upset over the Bulldogs and send shockwaves throughout the entire nation. That's Run the SEC, and I'm Kenneth Kelly for Football Friday.
Well, the weather looks like it's going to be perfect for football. Here's WVUA 23 Chief Meteorologist Richard Scott with the forecast.
All right, here's a look at that local weather for the weekend. We've got things going on outdoors for Saturday, 76, sunny. Warm. Sunday, 79, even warmer with lots of sun. Let's talk football weather. We'll start you off Auburn. Auburn taking on Vandy in Nashville on Saturday. If you're heading up that way for lunchtime, around 61 by the 3 p.m. kickoff. Temperatures will rise into those upper 60s to around 70. Full sunshine, very nice start to the game. And by the end of the Auburn game, you are looking at temperatures in those lower 60s. No weather hazards if you're traveling back home. Now, let's check out things in Bryant-Denny, Alabama, taking on LSU in Tuscaloosa. Going to be the happening place this weekend. If you're going to be out tailgating earlier in the day, around 3 o'clock, we'll hit that temperature around 76. But once the sun goes down, it cools off quickly with that very dry air in place. Again, blue skies around during the day. 6:45 kickoff at Bryant-Denny around 63. Notice how temperatures fall pretty quickly after that peak around 76 here. 63 at kickoff, and then by the end of the Bama game, we are looking at temperatures in the lower 50s with a clear sky. No weather hazards this weekend, as our local weather will remain very dry. That is a look at that local weather forecast update.
Thank you, Richard. We're almost out of time. I want to thank everybody here helping us out for Football Friday. Reminder to join Molly Harold this weekend for your sports on WVUA 23 News at 10 on Saturday and Sunday night. For all of us here, have a great weekend, everybody. I'm Gary Harris. Roll Tide.